So let's talk Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome,
right,
because we got a chance to visit both this week. Let's just say that the Boondockers Welcome had a little shaky start.
It was a little rough in the start, that's
but
for sure.
Make sure you hang around to the end to find out how it turned out.
Before that, if you're new to our channel, I'm Gordon.
And I'm Alice.
And we're roaming with the Ramsays. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button before you leave. Give us a like and leave us a comment and let us know what you think of our videos.
Yeah, have you ever used Boondockers Welcome or Harvest Host? Just let us know.
And don't forget, hashtag Harvest Hosts
Coast to Coast.
So initially we were having a little hard time figuring out where to go. I mean, we had good directions to get us there, but they had a really big parking lot and several entrances to their parking lot.
And a couple of buildings.
So we're kind of going slow. Nope, not there, not there, not there. And then we finally got to an entrance to the parking lot where we saw a big Class A Tiffin.
Yep.
And then an opening through the back side that gave us access to the back parking lot, which was where they had told us to kind of go to park.
During the weekdays when
right.
we were there, is to park behind the building.
Right.
So we were definitely looking for that area.
And man, did we find a spot.
We are at yet another Harvest Host.
And yet another brewery.
And we did have lunch today. It was really good. And we are at 4204 Main Street Brewing.
Ooh, that's a mouthful.
Right?
In Belleville,
and yes,
Illinois.
That is their address also.
Yes, right? Now, they have a lot of space here.
Yeah.
We were pretty surprised. It's a big parking lot. They actually have a couple of them.
They have availability for 5, is what they say on their
Right.
Harvest Toast.
Now, keep in mind, this is an active restaurant and brewery, and when we say it's active,
It was busy.
I mean, it was about 1 o'clock when we went to get lunch,
Yeah.
and it was packed.
We had about a 20-minute wait.
20-minute wait, so you know the parking lot can be a little tight. We were able to get in. We'll take you on a quick walkthrough of the business. Now, another thing that they have is behind them. I'm pointing right at my trailer.
Over here.
So behind them, they have this big beer garden, and in the big beer garden, they have like cornhole set up for people to play. They have one of those large Jenga games for people to play. So pretty good little area there. We'll go through there as well. And where we're at right now,
the best part is look at the view that we have. Look at this
what we got.
Field. I mean, this is a beautiful little site.
Alice and I have this pretty much all to ourselves. We have one neighbor right now. Small van, and surprisingly from Manchester, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So we had a good chat with them for about half an hour before lunch today. About where they're headed and where we're headed and all that.
As my belly was growling, right? I was hungry.
And I was thirsty.
You're always thirsty.
I'm always thirsty. So let's go out front and take a look out front, and we'll show you around a little bit. So that right over there is where their beer garden is. This is the backside of the restaurant. It's a really big restaurant, and you can see it's been added on to quite a couple times. Here's one parking lot that they have, and then this building right over here used to be where they were located, because it still has the sign out front that says 4204 Main Street Brewing. So you can, there was a big Class A Tiffin over there, another trailer when we came in, and the spot where we're at now was wide open, so we chose that spot. So let's walk out front and take a look out front. So the 4204 Main Street Brewing Company, when you go in the front door, there's obviously the hostess section, and if you pass beyond the hostess section to the left, which we didn't take, you go into kind of like a main dining area.
Yeah.
And then around to the right is a secondary dining area, and they also kind of have a buffet, because on what day was it? Sundays?
Sunday. It was very, very popular.
On Sundays, they do this huge buffet. It's kind of like a brunch buffet.
Yes.
But they also have a bar there. And then if you go out the back door, that will take you out to the beer garden.
Yeah.
And in the beer garden section, there was
Picnic tables.
picnic table,
Fire pits. Games. And another bar.
cornhole.
Cornhole. Games are good.
You know, so they had cornhole. They had a whole bunch of fire pits. They had Adirondack chairs.
Yep. And it's pet friendly. You
Pet
can bring
friendly.
your
You
dog.
could bring your dog back there. I saw a big pile of firewood. So it looks like a
They supply all the wood.
Yep, help yourself. Go grab the wood, build your fire, sit around the fire in an Adirondack chair.
They do have a different menu for the bar versus the restaurant. So
all good options for you while you're there, and you're camped right there.
yeah.
You know, so
on the other side
you
of the fence.
can go in, you can enjoy a beer. Pizza seemed to be like the big thing in the beer garden area.
So after we left 4204 Main Street Brewing Company, we are headed to our very first Boondockers Welcome, and we ran into this very large thunderstorm. Lots of rain.
A lot of rain coming down. The wind was picking up a little bit, so I started getting concerned driving because I was starting to feel a little sway. So
Because we are in Tornado Alley, so.
Right? So I had Alice go to the weather app, make sure that she was searching weather in her area, see if there had been any alerts, warnings, or anything like that. So that's something you always have to kind of be aware of is, you know, when you get up in the morning and check the weather where you're at.
It doesn't mean it's going to be the same 100 miles down the road.
Right. So you need to kind of keep pace on that and make sure you're not driving into danger.
Yeah.
So after she checked the app and saw that, you know, there were no alerts, warnings, or anything like that for the area that we were in or the area we were going to, we were able to make the decision to go ahead and keep driving forward to our next destination because we really did have a decision to make.
And what happened? Oh, we drove out of the storm.
Drove out of the storm. Clouds parted. Not quite. It was still cloudy. But we crossed over into Arkansas and it was dry. So after going through the rain and getting into Arkansas and making our way to our very first Boondockers Welcome location, trouble.
Yeah.
So our host, George, we had called him, let him know we were coming. He was ready for us to show up. He told us his vehicle would be a gray truck and he'd meet us there. And he did. We saw him pull into the yard before we got to the turn. When we got up by the turn, I tried to negotiate in the corner. Notice I said tried.
Tried.
See over there. So I have to swing by it a little bit.
You have a ditch on your side too.
I know. That's the one I can see.
Slow. Slow. I think you're gonna go in it. You gotta back up a little bit. You're gonna be like right on the edge where.
Well, the problem is I don't know if I can change my angle and.
You're going in the ditch.
Can you get out?
Yeah.
Okay, that way I can actually tell if I'm having problems or not. Couldn't make it. I got to a point where it looked like my tire was getting ready to go into the ditch there. So, and George was kind of spotting me. Alice was outside. Basically, we called a stop.
Yes,
Everything,
yeah. The important thing is the communication, making sure that you have a way to communicate with the driver and who's spotting. You know, Gordon and I have walkie-talkies. We'll make sure that there's a link below to our Amazon affiliates page.
Yep.
Make sure you get yourself some walkie-talkies because they are very important.
You got plenty of room behind you, hon. Straighten out your front wheels. hang on.
I got a car coming toward me. I'm letting by. And then I got to back up.
Got a car coming up behind you too.
Because had we not been doing that with our communication, I think our trailer would have ended up in the ditch.
Yeah, because the tire was pretty close.
It was really close, and so I said, no, back up. And there were 2 driveways, and we just happened to turn in on the first driveway. So we just started all over. We pulled all the way out, and we pulled into the second driveway, which didn't have a ditch to it. But there was another trailer park, so we had to, pull into that driveway and then go around that trailer too. So, all at the end, everything turned out
Everything
great.
was great in the end. It's kind of hard to see sometimes the tires and where exactly they are because they're so far behind. But we were able to identify that we had a problem.
Yeah.
We stopped. We got out and looked. We discussed our plan. And then through the walkie-talkies communicated and were able to enact a plan and make things work out. Alice did a great job, even stopping oncoming traffic from both directions.
We had a couple of those.
So I could manage to get backed out onto the road and then let the traffic go by, and then we went into that other driveway and everything worked great. Yeah. It was a great Boondockers location, so I want to talk just a brief minute about Boondockers Welcome and maybe some of the differences and similarities of a harvest host. So Boondockers Welcome is a place, in this case it was a home. The guy had been a camper for most of his life, and he opened his property up to other campers to come in and enjoy the area. It was a great location. Now, things that are a little bit different is at this location we had water connection and we had electric. It was only 30 amp electric, but we still had electric, so we could still, keep things powered up and going. It wasn't full service, but definitely much better than harvest hosting in a parking lot when you're just relying on your self-contained items in your trailer.
Correct.
So it's kind of nice, and typically Boondocking lets you, Boondockers Welcome locations will let you stay for multiple days.
So we stayed for 2 nights.
Right, so it was kind of nice. Now George, he was a local guy, been there forever and a day. When we first got there, he had a nice long chat with us and told us of a few things that we might be interested in going and checking out while we were there. One of which was Johnny Cash's Boyhood home.
Yeah, that was very fascinating.
Right, so, and it was maybe 20 minutes away, so we took a drive over there, did a tour.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So when we got to the theater where the Johnny Cash Museum is, and you pay your fee for the tour and stuff, they bring you into a room and they show you a short video about the dedication of the renovation of this home.
Right, so they brought back the home to what it used to be when they lived there, where they have all of the original furniture and all of that kind of stuff, and they show how the family reacted to that renovation.
When the renovation was over, Johnny Cash's sister and brother were there along with his daughter and got a tour of the home, the renovated home, and the memorabilia that was inside the home.
Yeah.
And all that was in the video. So you get to learn a little bit about the house before it was renovated and then after the renovation and what the family thought about it.
Yeah.
And you get a little bit of information to be prepared for what you're going to see when you actually get to the home.
Yeah. So hint, they don't allow video in the home, but you can take all the pictures that you want.
Right. So after watching the video and getting ready to go out and tour the home, we met up with our driver/tour guide, who was also a Dias, Arkansas resident and had lived there and went to the same high school as Johnny Cash. I believe he graduated about 10 years after Johnny Cash. But he knew a lot about the history of Dias and relayed some of that information to us as we were on our way out to the house, and then continued once we were in the house.
Yep. And of course he was playing Johnny Cash music in the tour bus.
Man, I always had stories about the city life and the crazy nights. Figure I should probably give it a try. Maybe check it out, see what it's all about. But the traffic was fast and the money was slow. The people I met you never get to know. I kinda miss this place I used to live back home. Cause up here it's breakneck, paycheck, rat race, what's next? I'm tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. My friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, and you can keep your 9 to 5, happy with the simple life. Yeah, I ain't here to try to change your mind, trying to save your time. In case you're thinking about breaking out the bucket list, girl, you can skip this funny business. Cause up there it's complicated and overrated. Down here everything is understated. That's alright by me. I got everything that I need, but there is breakneck paycheck.
One of the first things you see when you open the door and walk inside is a piano. Now, according to the video that we watched going out there, that was Johnny Cash's mom's actual piano, and some of the notebooks that were sitting on the piano were those books that she used to have there.
Yeah, that they grew up singing these songs in that home with the original songbooks that were on there, so it was really neat. The other thing that you're going to see is the dining room table. They actually have the dining room table set with the original dishware that was there when they were growing up as children, and they have their hutch and all kinds of stuff in that dining room. And they brought back, what would you say, refurbished the refrigerator, the ice box, actually. The ice box. And that is in the dining room too, and that was very cool to see.
Right, and one of the things that our tour guide was telling us about, and you may see it in the window, but there's a sign in the window that indicates how much ice you need in your ice box.
How many pounds is going to be delivered the day that the Iceman comes out.
So you can rotate the sign, and I guess when the Iceman comes out, whether you're there or not, everybody, he said, just left their doors open. The Iceman knew you wanted 20 pounds of ice, so he'd bring 20 pounds of ice in, put it in your ice box, and then go on the rest of the day.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It was pretty neat.
Great service way back then.
Right, a system I wasn't even aware of.
You're right. I find that my favorite was in the kitchen. There is the apron of his mother, and it was her real apron that's there, and it's draped over the back of a chair that's sitting next to the door. And I don't know, something like that just touches me.
Right. And again, our tour guide, very informative, talking about what he knew from having been there and lived it. Said that apron may have very well been made out of a sack of flour after the flour was used, that some of the companies back in the day when they were doing sacks of flour and what have you would put their sacks, would have a nice pattern on their sacks, and that the women would make clothes, whether it's shirts or whatever.
Dresses, yes. Or the curtains. The curtains were made out of flour sacks for sure. So it's just, living those days. Could you just imagine living in those days? So we also were able to actually sit on the front porch swing, and we got pictures of, selfies of ourselves on the front porch swing.
Sure, it's not the original swing, but just the idea that you're sitting in the same spot on the same piece of property that Johnny Cash and his family were at and grew up at. I just thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, so of course, after spending the day at the Johnny Cash home.
Did you, little trivia before we go on, did you know that Johnny Cash was actually born J.R. Cash? That when he joined the military, they didn't want him to have the initials on his entry, so he came up with the name of John Cash at that time.
What branch did he join?
Leave a comment and let us know.